that meeting to order. Is Kay with us?
No, but Jordan is helping us take notes or take minutes.
Okay, can we confirm a quorum and proper notification of the meeting?
Yes.
We do have a quorum. We have all members present, and notification was given. Okay, we'll move in then to the meeting minutes of February the 2nd of 21. Everybody received those minutes as part of the agenda. Is there any comments, questions, changes? Hearing then, is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion stands approved. We'll move on to the approval of the claims that were presented in the amount of $428,516.24. Lawrence, do you have anything to add in there, or are there any questions or comments for Lawrence?
Nope. Like I said, the only big ticket item was the buyout of the master lease, which was previously approved. So that's why it's a big number.
Are there any questions for Lawrence? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the claims as presented?
I'll move to approve.
Or second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion stands approved. We'll move on to our first resolution, FRC 01R031821, the resolution for the Fishers Redevelopment Commission approving transfer of real estate to the Fishers Redevelopment Authority and matters related to thereunto.
It's Annalise. You want me to take this one?
Yes, please.
This is just a short resolution kind of closing the loop on a financing that was done back, the bonds actually closed in 2018. And at the time, we did not yet have perfect boundaries for the property that was to be the leased premises under the financing. There were two bonds issued at the time, one by the city that was a general obligation bond, and then a second that was issued by the Redevelopment Authority. And you were involved in that one as a lease financing, like you're familiar with. And we had to kind of figure out the right delineation of boundaries between those two projects. That has been done now, and the property has been transferred to the Redevelopment Commission. I think that happened actually in the fall. But in order for the lease financing to work, it actually needs to be in the hands of the authority. So this resolution just transfers the premises to the Redevelopment Authority. They will adopt a similar resolution accepting the premises, and then we'll be able to record the lease and just kind of, like I said, close the loop on that financing. If you look at the back of the resolution, there's a map that kind of delineates the property. And these bonds were issued to finance basically the acquisition and basic site prep out at Geist. And then the bonds the bands that we're closing next week, the Redevelopment Authority bond anticipation notes, are for the first phase of actual projects out there. So things are really moving. It's exciting. But this is just kind of one of those little formal things we have to do to finish it up.
Any questions on this resolution for the members? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
I'll move to adopt the resolution.
Second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion stands approved. Move on to the next one. Item number 6. The resolution is 02R031821. This is Knowledge Services, a resolution approving the First Amendment to the Indiana Economic Development Corporation and Industrial Development Grant Fund.
So back in 2016, we had our first economic development agreement with Knowledge Services, and as part of their original plans, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation provided an $800,000 matching in infrastructure development grant fund, or IDGF. Since Knowledge Services plans changed a bit, and they've purchased the former Marsh headquarters and are undergoing extensive renovations there. The IEDC has changed their grant scope a little bit and has reduced it from 800,000 down to 400,000. So this is as part of the normal IDGF process. The city has stated here is what is our contribution for the matching. Talking about the existing infrastructure improvements that we've done in the area, and then Knowledge Services plans to do some parking lot improvements and some trail improvements. So that is, this is that final step for that. And just like with our other IDGF applicants before, once this is finalized, the city receives, or through the Redevelopment Commission, we receive the funds for Knowledge Services. They submit the invoice to us that says, yes, this is what we've used this money for. And then this is an invoice proving that we've paid for this, and then we submit the reimbursement. So that is this process. Happy to answer any questions.
I heard trail improvements. Is there a trail around there?
So talking about their hopefully putting a trail in front of their building. They're also planning a trail kind of through their property. But my understanding is the majority of it's going to go to their extensive parking lot and improvements to that. Eventually, our goal is still to buy all of that Norfolk Southern land that's dry detention to create some better trail connectivity over to the Nickel Plate Trail. But that's a very, very slow moving process, unfortunately.
Is there any questions for Megan on the resolution? If not, is there a motion to approve as presented?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion stands approved.
Do we need to note that?
Yep.
Yeah, that Damon recused himself.
Yeah, I put that on here.
So you have four yeses, and then Damon's recused himself. We'll move on to Resolution 03, R031821, Gray Eagle EDA.
So this has been a big and long process to get this project agreement and economic development agreement finalized over at Gray Eagle, and Jennifer really deserves all the credit of working with everybody. So I'm going to give a high level, and I'm sure Jennifer will be able to provide some additional context and answer any questions as well. So with this economic development agreement, if you'll recall, a few years ago, iTown Church wanted to purchase the golf course and that driving range, and it really sparked this community-wide and really neighborhood-wide conversation of, well, if the golf course owners don't want to maintain it, how do you ensure property values of these homes that purchase golf course frontage homes, and creating an asset without the city then having to manage a golf course, which is something that we said that we didn't want to do. So cue about 2.5 to 3 years of negotiations with all of these different parties. So this economic development agreement addresses two components. So the first is J.C. Hart. They're building an age-targeted multifamily development. So they're planning about 150 different units, planning a $30 to $31 million investment in that portion of it, and it's taking the far south side of the driving range along Brooks School Road. The other piece of this, so there's going to be significant TIF that'll be generated from that, and as part of the TIF that's generated, those proceeds, some of that will also, the proceeds will be captured and generated off of the clubhouse improvements as well. So in the economic development agreement, the TIF proceeds, that 100% TIF capture that for this developer-backed bond, which is amazing for us because we're just issuing the debt, but they are on the hook for it and carrying that as a developer-backed bond. The multifamily is receiving 59% of the proceeds, and the golf course is receiving 41%. There's also special provisions in there that the golf course and the clubhouse have to maintain certain standards of maintenance and improvements. And that if that at any time during a 15-year period they sell or they default on that, there's a kind of a waterfall effect of the neighborhoods being able to maintain ownership, or the city then actually owning the golf course as well. So it's really was a collaborative process of trying to protect this asset, protect the homes around there. What they're proposing at the clubhouse is pretty cool too. They're hoping that a restaurant will be able to go in there, and really an incredible development that Gray Eagle, the Greystone neighborhood were involved in addition to Jennifer and Scott really helping to lead the way. So Jennifer, any other key things that I missed on that one?
I think you covered it. The only thing I can think of is just to, underscore what you've actually already said, that it really was a very collaborative effort between J.C. Hart, the golf course entity, the city, and Gray Eagle to figure out a solution where we could pay for these improvements, and we weren't going to be in this situation again in 5 years if the golf course threatened to close. So I think it's a great result. That's all I have.
I had a question as it relates to if the golf course owner gets in a financial challenge. I see it rapidly becoming a city property if in the event that does happen. Once it becomes a city property, then what's our recourse after that? Any long-term thought to that portion?
Well, Megan, do you want me to take this one?
Yes. Yes.
So there's a few things. One, if they don't operate, we have the right, if they don't operate to the correct standards, and if they fail to operate for a period of time, we have the right to come in and take the golf course really based on an appraisal and then minus the amount that we've invested in it. So that's number one. Also, too, if we get very far out, and we don't want to plan for that scenario, really. I mean, you have to plan for it, but we don't plan on that happening. And one reason we don't is really this. They really are trying to make this golf course more of a destination. And while we're putting money in to some of the improvements, it is far less than what that golf course is investing to make it a much nicer golf course and golf course facility. So they really are going to have a real economic reason to make sure this is successful. To give you an idea, like this clubhouse they're doing, well, one, they want a top-notch restaurant in there. They want it to be a place not just where people golf, but where people come to dinner, families use it. They're putting in these simulation days, which I'm actually a golfer. I've seen one of these where you go in, I think there's 6 of them, and you can play different courses around the world. Like, you swing, but you have the image of the course in front of you. And then they're also putting in some hitting decks. So, I mean, it's not like Topgolf in that it's a game like that, but you go out to the driving range and there's decks there. So they really are investing a lot. The other thing that's key here too is the golf course entity is forming a new LLC with J.C. Hart and is also an investor in that multifamily project. And their deal, the reason J.C. Hart was willing to get involved in this deal is because they consider that golf course an amenity for their residents as well, for this age-targeted group. So they also have commitments to J.C. Hart and are part of that deal that's going to want to see the multifamily succeed. So there's a lot of reasons they have to keep this thing operational, far different than they have at other times. Does that help?
It sure does. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
And one question I missed out on: the owner, is it do they have a consortium or a grouping of other golf courses, or is it a single owner of that? Well, not necessarily a single owner, but an individual grouping of owners for that one course?
That's what it is now.
No, I think, but Megan, aren't they, you correct, Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this group owns a couple, don't they own Ironwood and
They
something
do.
else too?
Yep, but this agreement
Yeah.
is not related to that. So the benefits of this do not carry over to their other golf courses.
Sure.
Yeah,
Usually they-
absolutely not. Also too, from a financing perspective, I don't know if you know these owners, but essentially the people behind these golf courses, it's the May family and the Thompson family.
Okay.
So I don't know if that helps at all.
Megan, you and Jennifer both said age targeted. What does that mean?
55 plus is who they're targeting, but it's not a fully age restricted where nobody over 55 can go in there. So they're planning amenities and creating the space for people 55 and up.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for either Megan or Jennifer about this project? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
Oh, a motion to approve.
There's a second.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion stands approved. We move on to item number 8, which is FRC 04R031821, the Fisher's Villa EDA.
So this is the Fisher's Villa economic development agreement for the approximately 244 luxury leased home rental project that Thompson Thrift is pursuing south of the Yard. So and all of that, it's about 35 acres just south of the Fishers district at the Yard. And this area, if you'll, on the exhibits included in the economic development agreement, you'll see the potential site plan. So Sunbeam, who owns all of that land, was not motivated or did not want to sell the 25 acres that Thompson Thrift only needed for their rental project. And so the city's participation came in 2 different ways. The first is a land acquisition agreement, which the Redevelopment Commission is familiar with, where we're essentially serving as the backstop with that remaining about 10.5 acres. That's the spot on the exhibit just north of Forum Credit Union. So we, just like these other land acquisition agreements, we have a deadline of December of 2024. The carry costs are identical to what we have for these other land acquisition agreements in an amount not to exceed 5.9 million. We highly anticipate that we're not going to have to purchase that. I think that hopefully within the next couple of months there will be some movement on that site, but this allows Thompson Thrift the security to go out and do their project and not have to carry that cost of the 10.5 acres that they don't need for their project. The other way that we're participating is in these commercial grants. So we are providing $900,000 for this linear park, which is essentially a trail with kind of landscaping around it that'll go through the development and then up along the east side of the project. We anticipate that the cost is going to exceed that $900,000, but we want to participate in it. And then $300,000 that'll go for the road improvements on the north side of the project. There's also a tiny intersection and access point along USA Parkway that you'll see in that exhibit too. So that's our involvement. They'll dedicate the park to us to own and maintain after the project is done so that it remains public. And we're not waiving any sort of permitting, inspection, impact fees. So all of those go through. And then this project in total generates about $800,000 a year in assessed value that'll go into our TIF. So this is a big win for us in terms of our TIF. And again, these units are incredible. And it's going to be a great amenity. They're excited to connect up to the Yard. and provide some additional housing options within the city. So this EDA contains both the land acquisition agreement and the EDA. And since this land acquisition agreement exceeded $5 million, City Council approved both on Monday as well. Happy to answer any questions about this one.
Megan, looking at the diagram, the villas, is it basically an apartment type complex? Is that what it is down through the?
It's multifamily, but they're either townhomes or they are duplexes or attached units. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units. The townhomes, let me just try and pull up this.
But it all kind of goes around form.
Correct.
Okay.
Let me pull this up. So this is the project in blue is the villas. Here's the 10.5 acre site for the land acquisition agreement. And then here's the trail that'll go through.
What is the yellow building at the top left?
That's just a placeholder that they've put in there right now for a potential use. Down here though is their actual like clubhouse and amenity center for the residents who will live in here.
Okay. Are there any questions from any of the members for Megan on this particular project?
When do they anticipate breaking ground on that? Just out of curiosity.
They did the first hearing for their PUD this month, so I think probably they'll get all their approvals hopefully in May. And then I think they're anticipating breaking ground maybe late third quarter, early fourth quarter of this year. And then probably an 18 to 24 month construction period is what they're hoping for.
I asked the question one time, this has been several apartment complexes ago, about the percentage of rental units. They just seem to be increasing. Of course, I'm sure the population of Fishers at the same time is increasing. And you quoted statistics at that time, the percentage of the population that, and we were still way under that. Even with all these projects, we're still in good shape.
Yeah, we're still under, where's that? We always refer back to this, Jordan, this spreadsheet that Jordan had put together in this graphic.
I thought it was 16%, but I could be wrong.
I think 17% is the nationwide average for communities our size, but I think we're still sitting at about like 9% of multifamily units for our population. So, or in terms of like housing units within the community. So okay. We'll all, actually here it is. I don't think we've updated it with this project, but we should.
Okay.
Get you the accurate number.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the members for Megan or for Megan? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion stands approved. We'll move on to item number 9, FRC 05R031821, the Clear Object EDA amendment.
Yep. So this is to amend Clear Objects. It was originally with Club 1 when that was their name before in 2015 for their original economic development agreement when they moved into the Switch office building. So at that time, as part of their incentive package, we had provided some incentives in terms of free rent to them and had a payback provision. Since they have extended their lease and are committing to another 3 years and were great partners with us to help bring Amplify into half of that space, we said that if they committed to that amount of time, thereby reducing our costs that we have to pay for that space in the event that they could have left, we've offered to waive, it's about $68,000 of repayment that was in their original agreement.
Any questions for Megan on the resolution? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve as presented?
A motion.
Or second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion stands approved. Move on to item number 10, FRC 06R03-181, the ESN, Energy Systems Network Agreement.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So yeah, like Megan said, May Mobility is actually the name of this company. They're an autonomous vehicle company. They've done pilot programs in like Grand Rapids, Detroit, Providence. They just did one or launched one in Japan. So they're really growing, and they're a growing name in this industry. Their primary funding source is actually Toyota. But anyway, they announced plans to locate in the IoT lab for at least 12 months. And they're establishing their regional headquarters here for at least that period. And they'll also be, during that time, doing a 6-month pilot route down at IUPUI. And then the second 6 months that they're here, they're going to be up here in Fishers. So as a part of the city's incentive for them to establish their regional headquarters here, at the IoT lab, and then to run that pilot here for at least 6 months. The city has offered $250,000 to go toward their operations, and then $25,000 to go toward their IoT rent. So again, this is a pretty big win for the IoT lab as they continue to attract, IoT companies and build their reputation nationally, really as a hub for this type of technology. And just a note, so this agreement is actually with Energy Systems Network. So they're the ones who actually brought us this company, and they've kind of been like a middle entity in all of this. And they're assuming all the contracts with the municipalities that May Mobility has been operating in. So with that, are there any questions from you guys?
Will they actually be on the public streets?
Yes, during the pilot program. So they actually don't start their pilot here until November, but they're moving into the IoT lab here like at the end of the month.
If I can jump in real quickly, we mentioned earlier we couldn't get over the finish line with the last group because of insurance and indemnification. And you're not going to see in that ESN group those elements either. But what we did is May Mobility, who actually, as Jordan mentioned, is the operator, they are providing the insurance. They are fully indemnifying the city for their operation. So that is all happening because we have a separate agreement with them. But because they're using our right-of-way, that will go to the Board of Public Works instead of you all. So we're still upholding the same standards that we've always had for these autonomous vehicles.
Good, because indemnification and insurance are critical in my world. So yes, let's do that.
Any other questions for Jordan or Jennifer about that particular agreement? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve as presented?
Move to adopt the resolution.
Or a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That motion stands approved. Go into old business. Is there any old business out there, Megan?
Nope.
Anything new that we haven't covered? There a motion to adjourn at 4:47?
There's a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
See you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.